Zlurpcast!
We are the champions, my friends. I'm going to take a shot at this. Last episode, I was like, I don't want to be the butt of the joke anymore, but I think I got it timed out. So if Biran is top left, because he's the starter, I arrived the tardiest. So I know I am kitty corner from Biran, correct? Oh, I'm underneath you?
Yes.
Okay, so Biran there. So it does go like this.
Yes.
Okay. Biran there.
It goes anti-clockwise.
Okay. The other one is 50-50.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go Xtreme.
Kitty corner. Yep.
Right. So Mike?
This is the same way it is in the Dreadball video, which is nice, so I don't have to change around the words.
Okay. Well, I've learned nothing on episode whatever we are, 20. I mentioned we're the champions. A song some people know. The band is Queen. Look them up. They had a couple hits. I do want to mention when you are a champion, I don't mean winning a game. We all like to win games. Okay? Not all of us do. Biran, you saw in the last episode, Dreadball, he got the blame stuck from inside of his butthole. Got it out. Very cool. It's been 2 years, I think you had that in there. Xtreme, like in the 90s, was good at Blood Bowl. Mike is kind of, he plays the for fun teams, but he's got some skill too. Winning a game, being a champion, that's a thing. We don't want to talk about that. There's other videos talking about winning games competitively. I want to talk about championing a game. When you are the driving force, you are spearheading a game to your gaming group, to your store, maybe to non-gamers at all. There's a guy at my work. I think I can get him to play this. He'll never play this, all of these, but he might play this. We've all had that too. So I want to kick it off. We've got Biran, we've got Valdric, we've got Xtreme. I want each of you to pick one game that you have already championed with success. Tell me what you did, how you approached it, and how it ended up.
Okay.
I guess I'll start. I'm guessing, I think a good example would be Frostgrave.
Okay.
I got the rule set and I really wanted to play it, and I made a whole bunch of terrain and little markers and all of that, and then we just had a group at that was at the Gaming Goat, and we set up a campaign, and 6-8 people were in it, I think, and I provided all of the terrain and all the goodies. You just needed the miniatures, and it went from there. So.
And that's a good game because you can use any miniatures you want.
Any miniatures, yep.
Any miniatures. It's very, it's the complete opposite of how we talked about in 40K, how the new 40K models are like, everything's as is. Even like new rules, they don't really, pick it. It's the complete opposite. It's basically your imagination could go wild. So perfect game, I think, not only for you to run, Mike, but also to an easy way to get people in. Now, I want to ask you, we already had a gaming group before that. So yeah. Did you decide to be the main guy for Frostgrave, knowing you had an easy buy-in, or were you set on it no matter what? If me, Biran, everyone else that was going to play said, not for us, would you still have run it and found people?
Probably not.
Okay. So for
because
you,
Gaming Goat really wasn't a miniature gaming store.
Yeah.
So
fair point.
It was just a board game store that let us play there. So it I don't think it would have taken off. So
we got a little crossover. Like Dan played Dreadball with us after being a customer or employee.
Magic Kid.
Yeah, Magic Kid. And there was War Machine there, but it was this was not a melting pot of gamers. This was like very much Magic and then a little bit of board game. So you probably wouldn't have got, if you showed up, like we talked about Eric showing up for a Wildest Exodus week in, week out, putting in the work. If you did that, like, it would have still gone nowhere, right?
Nowhere, right, yeah. Because they didn't sell the stuff or anything, so.
Okay. Yeah, so you knew you had a group. So that's a good point. I think when we're going to get to our kind of points about how to champion a game properly and things to look for. But having a base of sorts, having that, you knew we all had your back. So we were going to give it a try. Now, if we didn't like it, we probably would have played it out. And there might have been I don't think I can make it this Tuesday. It's 3 in a row. I'm like, weird. The line at Bona Beef was really long. Can't make it.
Yeah.
So,
I'm washing my hair.
right. So, Mike, tell me about when you decided to, let me first ask you, did you have any experience with Frostgrave as North Star, right?
Yeah. North Star makes a lot of the minis, yeah.
Okay, what's the publisher, though?
Osprey.
Did you have experience with them before?
I had some of their books, but the Frostgrave system was unique. So.
And how did you hear about it?
I don't know.
Okay. Maybe
That's a good question. I honestly don't remember how I first heard of it. I think it was just probably on Facebook or one of the gaming things that we're just talking about. Because it was up for, I think it was up for one of those awards like Gen Con or Origin.
I think it was either Frostiest Grave or Graviest Frost.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
It was up for. That was after our Dreadball League, correct? After our Dead Zone League?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is an important point because, again, it's going to come later on with our things, but you were the champion of this game and did a phenomenal job. You took the game that you thought was great, made the terrain, wrote campaign rules. You may have borrowed some stuff, but essentially it was, for the most part, a lot of your own things. You walked us through games. You very much were the third wheel when needed and didn't play, which is an important part of champion game, putting your own self-interest aside for everybody else. At that point, I mean, so you realized you had a head start because you had a group that was already willing to jump in. Me, Brian, Ryan, a few others were like, let's just jump in. And we knew we could use any models. We let our imagination run wild. So it was I would say you still put the work in, but it was a relatively easy transition because there was people to count on already, right?
Yeah.
And you went above and beyond. You made that awesome board and all the terrain, 2 sets of terrain. I think you had enough for 2 tables, right? All your terrain.
3, yeah.
Yeah, it was great. And so we had a lot of fun. And I think that's a great example of a game that I probably would have gotten the book on my own at some point, but I don't think I would ever have given it a try had it not been for you pushing that one. And that's an important thing too, is, you don't need to champion Warhammer 40K. It's out there. You don't really need to, which is a good thing about it. But also, we talked about in that episode all the pros and cons. Frostgrave is a game that there isn't really a readily available miniature line. At least there wasn't when we started. There was probably a couple of plastic war bands with some stuff, and then some metal guys, and we were just like, well, so it's almost I don't want to say it's an advanced game, but it's almost like it's probably not their first miniatures game, right?
Yeah.
Probably not, because they have some stuff already. They have all that, but for you that was great, and we had a good time with it. And there was really no downside. You put the above and beyond effort into it. Is there anything, before we move on to the next person, we played a handful of games, got to a certain point. I don't remember if there was a big finish or not. Was there anything lacking that you thought you had hoped it would get to that it never did?
No, not really. I mean, it was just, there really was no end scenario. There had a campaign, and there was kind of a bigger, it was almost like all of us were going to be like a battle royale kind of thing in this, but it never really got to that. And I think those never work out. They always sound really cool. We're going to get 8 players all together, and
never happens.
It never and it's always like one person's doing something, and then it turns into 4 2x2 games. And
we're going to finish out the Blood Bowl League with 8-team Dungeon Bowl.
Yeah.
No, we're not.
No, we're not.
We're fucking not.
Well, you did one of the.
Book and dream about it, but we ain't playing.
And didn't you modify the core rules? Because in the core rules, only the wizard levels.
Yeah.
Whereas you allowed for individual characters level, and I think that helped.
Yeah. We allowed for a little bit of growth for the underlings, because otherwise the underlings are basically accessories.
They're accessories, and there's no. When you're playing a campaign of any miniatures game, there's a level of attachment you get to everyone involved.
Yeah, for sure.
People, I mean, like, on the table.
Yeah.
If it's only one, then it's kind of like, chaff units, if you will. It just doesn't matter anymore. You just want to get your wizard up. Whereas when we got, 5-6 games in, I had a pretty badass barbarian guy who, could hold his own in a fight, didn't need wizard help. So we wouldn't have had that if we played by the book. So good job there. I just don't remember how it ended. If that was when we stopped going there, we went to Grognard.
Yeah, that was kind of near the end when there was that kind of transition to.
We went to Age of Sigmar after that, I think. Because we were playing Age of Sigmar at the end of Gaming Goat.
Yep.
And then at the beginning.
I remember we played one game at Goat of Age of Sigmar.
Yeah, at least I at least played one, if not more. But then
that was even before the General's Handbook came out, or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I forgot.
Todd opened Grognard for his friends. We might have had to lift a wall at some point. Otherwise, it was friends only access. We got to play for a little bit. I remember playing Age of Sigmar.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
I don't think we played Frostgrave there though.
No.
So I think that was our. So I always like to. I think about games in a timeline a lot because I like to remember where it started, where it ended, and the whys, because I think that's something that's fun to look at because you never know if was it a case of somebody not having fun, which was not in this case, but in some games it is, where it's we just kind of died off. Well, why? Well, people weren't into it anymore. Yeah.
Also, we are the most ADD gaming group.
Yeah. Well, it's perfect for this format.
Yeah.
We're covering all these games. If we didn't do what we did as far as attacking games and creating that precedent, we wouldn't have the show as it is because we would have picked one game, maybe a second after a year or something. But a lot of groups do that. We kind of really did, which is a good way to experience everything else. So Frostgrave, overall, fun game, great success. We'll have an episode about it. I don't want to dwell on Frostgrave.
Second edition comes out very soon, I believe.
Oh,
yeah. End of August.
Yeah, that's a game that is a book. That's it. The rest is right up here. Get a couple pals together and make it happen. From how easy it was, yes, you had a gaming club. But overall, this is fairly easy game because, did you say easy gate a champion? There was no real pushback as far as rules or players, right, Mike?
No, not really. And you only needed one rule book, and it's fairly accessible rule set, really. So it was.
And you could buy it at any game shop.
Yeah, that helps.
It's like a $20
That's probably champion a game that's a Kickstarter. You're like, oh, I'm so excited for this Kickstarter. Here, I'm going to show you how to play. All right, where do I get it? Oh, you can't.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up because I definitely want that to be at some point in this episode come out because that's almost like champion unwilling participant of a
Yeah.
I don't really want to, but I have to because I got to justify the all-in pledge that I did. That's
Well, and also with Frostgrave, not to discount what Mike did, but that's also an easy one that anyone that has a established collection of various fantasy features, you don't have to I got to paint up 2 separate forces to show people how to play. It's like I got this shit coming out of my ass.
That's true. However, there isn't for someone else who isn't that person.
Right.
There isn't readily. There was no terrain available. Now it's fantasy, so get whatever you want. But Mike put in the work and built all that, the snow and all that. Very cool. So you're right. For an experienced miniatures gamer, I would put Frostgrave in the easier category to champion.
Oh yeah.
But not for an early. If you're coming from the board game world or card game.
Yeah, you would be lost. You'd be like, what?
Totally.
So where do I get the miniatures? Well, use anything you want. Well,
where are the wizards? Where are the wizards? They're in your brain.
You have a giant box of D&D pre-painted plastics, then you're all set.
Right. You could, if you got to know enough to get those.
Yeah.
Those exist now. Those didn't exist, 10 years ago. But so Biran Xtreme, who wants to choose one of their champion games?
I'll go.
Okay.
So the one I really championed, and again, it wasn't one that necessarily needed championing, was the current Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team. Because they just released a new version. Everyone in the Friendly Ass Grognards bought the box set, I think everyone did. And from a champion standpoint, it was really easy because I didn't care about getting new people in at all. I actually preferred they didn't because I don't like meeting new people. Well, what I did from a championing standpoint was I took the campaign rules that came in the book and said, I've got past page 2 and I go, I'm bored. And completely ignored it for the rest of the campaign and just crafted one of my own from scratch, including specified lore for each battle that happened every week.
Yeah.
Why is Mike fighting the AdMech? Well, here's why.
Is this the dice you get to add in?
No, I came up with lore reasons for them. It wasn't, I didn't add bonus die or anything like that. I had lore reasons, and depending on what you won, you might get a bonus for the next game.
Okay.
Like Mike had to defile an elven forest with his future, not the death guard, things like that. So every week I just sit there and go, who hasn't played each other? Type up a little bit of story justification of why they're playing each other. And I think we did like 6 weeks, and then we had a final battle where I just put all the boards together, and then everything that built up to it. Like Mike, I bought the kit for Blackstone Fortress, those giant like plague demon things that came in that. He got some of those guys on his team because of the actions he took throughout the campaign. Ryan was playing AdMech, and he was constantly unearthing new research and development, which basically made him ally and get Necron spawning in on his side. And for Jameson, who was playing Grey Knights, and his guys started playing with the warp too much and turning into Rubric Marines on his side. So everything had a bonus at the end, and we had a giant battle at the end.
Yeah. So you had you added a heavy narrative, but warband focused narrative, not a entire narrative, but more of a, here are my friends, here's what they're playing. Each one of them, things happen based on wins or losses. So it was like a competitive.
And not to spoil it, but those things were going to happen regardless of win or loss because I already came up with the idea.
Okay, perfect. So a pseudo competitive narrative. But
it had the appearance of a competitive.
I love that. I love when people think things matter. And they don't.
Or it's like, like when you hear a story of a dungeon master, like, oh, they were going in the right direction, then they went somewhere else, and it ruined my whole plan. I'm like, why? Just make it happen over here, happen here.
Every game I ran like that, whether like D&D or any dungeon crawler, like I'm adapting the whole time.
Yeah, you're going where I want you to go.
I'm not going to not lose the game, and I'm not going to lose my, mojo because someone did something different. I'll fucking call an audible and do something. Yeah, you're right. People always complain.
You have the appearance of agency. You don't have agency.
Right. So with that one, Kill Team is 40K scaled down for people who don't know. Most people do know that. What did you do? Because you played at a game store and you played a common mainstream game. How did you close that off, and was that essential to the fun of your campaign?
It was essential because I wasn't willing to write storyline for people I don't know. So that it was limited just by like, how much bandwidth do I have to do this? And plus some of the stuff I did would only really be gotten by the people within the group, Yeah. If I told some normie, hey, your Plague Marine's got to jerk off onto that elven forest, you'd be like, whoa, what am I doing here, stranger?
Like, I've only played games where I jerk off to a dwarven forest. Who are you, and where is the normal games master?
Yeah. Like, all right, here's your win-loss. And I'm like, all right, this guy, your captain, can now do X, Y, Z, So I even had individual level ups for characters, too.
That's awesome. So you went above and beyond. The rules in the base game weren't enough to do what you wanted to do, right?
They might have been. I got bored reading them, so I stopped reading them. I don't know. It could have been there for all I know.
That's fair. How many times have we ran a league or something where I guess if you really delved into it, there might be a good nugget in there.
Yeah.
But we already made the decision to write our own shit.
We've been through enough campaign systems to know that they're almost all universally crap.
Right. Well, there's almost it's like I don't want to say universally crap. I'll say universally not what you're looking for.
Right.
Most of the time, it's like, once again, the idea of a campaign versus actually doing, like, oh, I really had hoped that they have. Stop hoping. Just put the book down. Grab your own notebook. And instead of hoping, why don't you say you get a tick mark for everything you kill? You get a this for every gold you grab, and just start doing it. That's how you do a campaign.
Guess what? You had an awesome game. Your lieutenant, it's on twos now. He's just not good.
Yeah, the stuff in the book, I like to feel I don't want to say it's for beginners, but it's usually for somebody who doesn't want to do the extra work. And it's not a lazy thing. It's just, it could be a time commitment.
It's like, I don't understand. That's not in the book. I don't understand.
Well,
doesn't compute.
To be fair, so Mike and you gave examples of games you've championed that were campaigns. I think that's important. They're not always the same. The game you champion doesn't mean it's a campaign, but a lot of times it is. But they were both closed off from the public.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. If you didn't do that, you were helping out the store, they need someone to champion Kill Team or Frostgrave.
Which we've done, yeah.
Which you've done. Let me ask you both. Would you have most likely stuck with the book?
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
the book? Because
no, because we did that. We kind of jointly ran that campaign that we had outside of the group, and we had the dice that we added. Yeah, not Shame. This was.
Oh, we did an Age of Sigmar.
Age of Sigmar campaign we ran.
I believe, was it Age of Sigmar skirmish, or was it full Age of Sigmar?
It was full. It was a Escalation League.
That was still us, though. That wasn't a public.
No, because we had Josh James played and a couple others.
What was that?
The guy that played the Skaven Super Cheesy, remember?
Yeah. So
that was the first thing we did at the store. That was the big thing we did.
So you had, you and I think, kind of had a couple of pages.
Yeah.
It wasn't not a novel that we.
I didn't write lore for each guy.
It was a couple of pages. We basically pooled our dice together. It's a fun one to talk about, but we pulled our dice together. We picked one unique of every like color combo, and that was like a die to do a thing with.
Like a fate die or something, like you were.
Yeah, this orange is like a fireball you throw at somebody. Literally, that dice is, literally be throwing the dice at somebody.
Yep.
Yeah.
Only one player did that in Kill Team, by the way. Who was that guy who threw the dice in one of the games? We were playing Kill Team. But that was a simple add-on we did, but still kind of public. I think in general, though, if you're championing a game for a store, you probably want to be as by the book as you can.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because then why create another, I don't even call it a hurdle. Why create another layer of like missing out on that connection with those other players? Gaming clubs are different. Like gaming clubs, pat yourself on the back that you put together a great club because you can get away with a lot of shit that you have a club. But when you don't, or when you're choosing to do a public thing and you champion a game publicly at a store, you got to be as inclusive as possible from a rules and models. And they're like, well, I normally play WYSIWYG, but we got to do this because these people don't. I normally play everything painted. Oh, we got, like, you have to, in your club, you can be a dick and do what you want because they love you for you. That's why you're in the club. But in a public thing, that's not the case, right?
Yeah.
And you have to self-censor and be a little more diplomatic.
Yeah,
or you get to start talking.
You know, Biran might have to cut the slurs from 5 to 3, you know, on any given night.
Keep it to slurs from the last decade, not the old ones.
Yeah, like don't, like, maybe from a swearing standpoint, shit is okay, but fuck isn't. For the first night, you know. You have to just change your personality a little bit. You can't always do, you know, be yourself. And there's good and bad. The good is you get players and that you didn't have before. The bad is you might have to be a little different than your norm, but sometimes it's essential. So I want to put both the ones you talked about in the similar category of, I mean, is it fair to say it was an exclusive game club focused championing event? Yeah.
Well, I think Frostgrave more so just because that was the environment we're in. Like, I think if you flash forward and ran that, there'd probably be some more non-friendly ass Grognards interested in playing that.
Mike, did you put up any flyers in your local stores?
With little tear-offs?
There were. I don't know, because...
Call Valdric for a good time? Like, what the fuck?
No, but Sue and... Bill, thank you, were also part of it. I don't know how they found out about it, so there must have been a...
Yeah, we specifically tried to keep them out of it, and they still...
That's not true. That's not true.
No, it's not true.
When was Kings of War in relation to Frostgrave?
Before, because that was also at Gaming Goat.
The Goat.
That's how it happened then.
Yeah.
There was probably a Kings of War game, and then I was doing a Frostgrave game or something like that. And
we just
a number of Kings
Frostgrave next, and Shannon said no, but Bill and Sue said yeah. So
Yeah, we played a lot of Kings of War at the GOAT, didn't we?
Yeah. We had the
It's
whole.
good that Shannon said no because we wanted to actually win sometimes. It's fun to win.
Yeah.
The
GOAT was
I'm
fun until people got
non-competitive arm, and he still curb stomps you, and you're just like,
dude, those goblins, like they always got behind me, the flea bags or whatever. Like, how the fuck do you always get behind me every time? Anyway, so Biran and Valdric had 2 games that one was a relatively obscure category, but he had a club to rely on. One is in the full-on mainstream category. Little bit of people might have came in, but for the most part, closed off club only. Xtreme, are you ready to go?
I'm ready to go.
All right.
So I've had multiple failures in championing a game, but I'd say my biggest success is also kind of self-contained, as the other ones were. My Blood Bowl league early on, I was introducing non-gamers to Blood Bowl and bringing them in and providing the models and just getting them there to play the game and writing newsletters and keeping them locked into the game in between the weekly game nights and stuff to build up that league and keep it going.
Anyone we know in that group? Frank?
I mean, probably. Well, Frank came later, but
Taylor?
Probably, yeah, Taylor was in it. Jenny played, and my cousin, who was in the fantasy football league with us, is probably the only way you guys knew him because he never went to tournaments or anything. Yep. And
what?
What'd you say?
I said Travis.
Is that doing work?
Yeah, doing work, Sean.
That was at the same time as your Slurpee Bowls or before?
Before, and kind of leading up to it. The league grew and got a little bit bigger, then kind of transferred into more tournament stuff.
No one, would you say no one in that group, your Blood Bowl league, had Blood Bowl experience before you?
That would be accurate.
That's great. How did you, I mean, besides family members, how did you meet the others?
Just the way you meet friends in real life, I guess, working with them.
I don't know what that works. I don't do real life anymore.
Grindr, I think.
Tinder, yeah.
Yeah, well, those things weren't around yet, but those would have been great options. Put a little Grindr ad together. You want to come over and play Blood Bowl with me?
Grindr is.
Oh, you're gonna get the no.
I mean, to be fair, Grindr is Xtreme's only tactic with the 40 minors anyway. Fucking grind. Cage. Game over. Cage locked in. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah. No, seriously though, how did you go to a store and like ask around or at work?
Not. I think I tried a little bit, but it was really just people that I knew through work and different that I was friends with from other aspects. And I thought might be interested, at least entertaining me through a game. And then I was hoping to hook them in after that. Okay. But the big thing, which I think is the reoccurring theme, is the extra effort that was put into it to keep everybody like involved with. You know, I was doing newsletters and doing like fake interviews and stuff throughout the week. So it was like a week-long thing, and you were looking forward to game night.
Is
that extra work for you, or is that when you tend to get overcommit and get really into something deep and you loved every second of it?
I really enjoyed it for that. As long as you're getting that positive energy back, it's really easy to have fun with it and just keep it going. But there's other games where I've tried to champion them. I was putting all that extra effort in, and it was like 2 people showing up every week, you know, game store, and it just wasn't growing. And it's hard to keep putting that extra energy in when you don't see anything.
I'm glad you brought that up, Biran, because after I do mine, I want to talk about sort of that's a big one, is the how do you know when you hit a wall? How do you know when it's more work and not fun? So Xtreme with that, I mean, you, much like Valdric and Biran, you were a GM as well as a player, a GM of the league, a commissioner, whatever you want to call it. You were overseeing the fun of everybody, but also your own stuff too, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think you said it very well. You have to be able to separate yourself and step back and make sure everyone else is having fun first and put that as a priority over your.
Got to be a bottom for sure.
It is for the greater good of all. You'd like to think that when all of those objectives are claimed and you have a successful game you've championed, you have reached total enlightenment. But sometimes it's like, well, I wanted to play too. Like that happened. This is going to be my pick, but just while we're talking, Mike, remember playing Warhammer Quest a long time ago? I was running it for a while, and then I didn't want to run it anymore. And then you said you would do because I wanted to play. And it was like that happens a lot where you almost have to hand off, find a partner in crime. And it's like, well, you saw what I was trying to do. Can we just switch? Because now I want to play, but I don't want to lose momentum. That happens a lot in the things you champion, right?
Well,
No,
also,
at the end, and then it fizzled off. But not your fault.
I ran it? Seriously?
I ran it, and then I said I wanted to start playing, and I wanted to use the Imperial Noble so I can do a dumb voice for him, because Biran loves that kind of shit. And then you took it over, and then Steve's Barbarian got too powerful, and we stopped playing.
I remember Steve's Barbarian. I don't remember me running it. I'll be honest with you, but
it probably was 2 games at the most.
Yeah.
The Barbarian was OP in that game.
God, yes.
That was a game where whoever gets the last fucking hit gets everything, which is dumb.
Yeah.
But Xtreme, what were you saying? Sorry.
One of the primary reasons I think to champion a game is hoping that will grow more people for you to play with in the future. Like, championing a game doesn't mean that you're stuck being in that GM role forever. Like, you're hoping to grow the player base, and then hopefully one of them take it from there.
Let me ask you now, because you said that, was this the XBL, by the way?
Yes.
The XBL was the precursor to Zlurpcast, which was the precursor to Zlurpcast and everything that came afterwards. Great success. Definitely, you may say you have a list of failures, but that's definitely not one of them. However, you also are the person who said, if I stop running this, I don't know if anyone else will take it over. You've said that before.
Yeah, I've also said that when people, would always thank me for running Zlurpcast and stuff, I always said, this isn't like some selfless gift I'm doing. The reason I started running Zlurpcast is to cause more tournaments to spring up around it, so that way I could play tournaments.
Yeah.
So
no.
Save your thanks. Either run your own or jerk me off in the alley. Like, do something.
But that is a good point. I mentioned that to several people too. I was like, if you really want to thank me, go back.
Jerk me off in the alley.
Go back home and run your own tournament. Invite me to your tournament. That's the best thanks I could get.
And how'd that work out for you?
It worked out well for a while.
Little bit. So I'd like to think that while Valdric and Biran's championing of those games they mentioned, both did a great job in putting the extra effort, the extra work. It had an end. It ended, and that was it. I don't think either one of those sprouted new players at all, correct?
Probably not, no.
Your Age of Sigmar one did, Biran, but we didn't talk about that. The ones you mentioned were begin with this, end with this. We all have fun, great, and then we move on, right? Xtremes is much different because his was, planting seeds and watching it grow from there. The plant may have died at some point. We won't argue that one on this episode. I don't know if his Blood Bowl plant is still growing. I think it's all weeds everywhere. I think it's not. He grew to love the weeds just the same. But Xtreme, was that a goal of yours? Like when you got into Blood Bowl and then you got your family and friends and coworkers into it, and then it grew. Were you thinking, man, sky's the limit. Wait till I make my own brand.
No.
Is that a thing or no?
Initially, no. I just wanted a successful league that I could also occasionally participate in. But just being around the game was super exciting at that time. So I wanted other people to feel that excitement too.
You also wanted to justify the LA Xtreme XFL jersey you bought, correct?
Sure. Yep.
It's like, you know who you're talking to, by the way? It's on the back. Xtreme 1. They were all 1. Are you happy with how it all turned out?
I mean, yeah, it was, I don't know how many years, a lot of years of great memories and meeting a lot of really cool people. So, yeah.
I would say without again, I like to do this, the timeline thing. And I like to do the whole, what is it, the butterfly effect kind of thing, where it's, if you didn't start the Blood Bowl League, we wouldn't have this at this moment. Period.
Sure.
We wouldn't. Because I wouldn't have met you at a tournament. I'm thinking, because you probably wouldn't have gone to tournaments. Is that fair? Without your Blood Bowl League, you wouldn't have gone to Chaos Cup?
That's very fair. Yeah.
Mike and I probably would have crossed paths because of distance and whatever, and local things. But from you being involved with us and Zlurpcast and everything, that was it. That was the starting point. So I'm glad you took the initiative. That was the conception, if you will, of Zlurpcast back then, and we watched it grow. It's a beautiful story, Xtreme. Anything you would have done differently over time? Anything that would have
Picked a better game, maybe?
Choose a better game? Not have pushed yourself so hard to be the biggest independent tournament? Like, did that cause burnout? I mean, what would you have done differently? Because I know your league is what you talked about, but I don't want to discount the fact that it grew and spawned into something else.
I don't think I would have done. I don't know. Maybe I could have tried to work harder in building, I don't know, apprentices or something, like training other people to do what I was doing, so that way they could do it on their own. So that way, when I did need a break or needed to slow down, it wasn't like, oh, well, now everything slows down.
Yeah, I guess
you got to franchise that motherfucker.
Yeah.
You need, like, you can be mad at Chick-fil-A, but don't be mad at that owner of this Chick-fil-A. He's a local business owner, you know. Xtreme, you sort of did it. I mean, you had, like, Frank ran some and some other people, but you didn't. That wasn't a priority to create mini Xtremes, if you will.
I mean, I was trying to encourage people as much as possible, but I don't know. I guess if I had to pick something that I would change, maybe I would put more effort into that.
Fair. And you know what? You also led by example, which means you didn't really have to do that as much, but you could have, but then something else may have suffered, I think, because of it. So I actually was going to say Blood Bowl. So I have a different one because I was going to talk about the old Blood Bowl leagues, but Xtreme's story is better than mine because he's grew from a league into much more. I'll actually, probably our next game, we're going to do a Super Show. So Super Show is a wrestling card game. We'll have that as an own episode, but that's one where I knew that, I was trying to think timeline once again. We played Super Show at Gaming Goat.
Yeah.
So that was before Grognard. So around that same time, so 2015-ish, probably. I knew it was not as easy of a game to champion as Xtreme or as Mike and Biran's games, because it's wrestling. Not everyone that plays games likes wrestling. It's a card game. Not everyone that plays miniature games likes card games. In fact, many of them abhor, if you will, the average card gamer. There's stacked against everyone. But it's a fun game that I showed it to non-wrestling fans, and they liked it. So I thought we can do more. Xtreme was even though I championed it in the Chicago area, Xtreme started it because he's the one who showed me the game, and he's the one who said, why don't we just make our own players and our own wrestlers? That was the overarching theme of all of this, is going above and beyond. What can you do more to make people have more fun? Doesn't always work out, and I'll talk about that in a second. Doesn't always make for a better experience, but at least you're trying to. We said, well, to get into the game, it's a cheap buy-in, but you can't go to the store and buy it. So you got to go to the website. It's a couple of extra conversations. Then we said, you know what? You just want to make your own wrestler. We'll do a RPG kind of thing. So send me a funny picture and create some move names, and we'll curate one to copy from. We knew they were going to buy some cards to get into the game because you have to have some cards, but the rest of it was there. Now, the con of that is, how are we actually helping the company? Because they're not going to sell characters when we let people make all their own. That's one con. I didn't view that as a con at the time. I do now, 5 years later, but not then. That's one. But I'm happy we did what we did. From there, we, instead of playing the game as a game, once again, we changed the rules, which again happens when you champion a game all the time. I'm sure all of us, even Xtreme's leagues, probably had things you did in your league that weren't, always by the book. We changed the rules. We said, well, you gotta earn title shots. You gotta show up. We made it real. Now, when you book wrestling matches, you also book the finish and the champions. We were booking wrestling matches and then let
what?
And let the chips fall where they may, and people won when they weren't supposed to win, and they didn't win when they were supposed to win, which caused some confusion with that. Then you have people complaining. why do they get this? That's your friend and blah, blah, blah. That happens too. That happens all the time.
Like real wrestling.
But that's a big part of it. Yeah. So there were times where we're playing Super Show. We're having monthly or bi-monthly events. Bi-monthly or semi-monthly? What's every two?
I'm bi.
Bi-monthly.
Okay. Semi.
Oh, you're talking about months.
Every other week and every other month.
I thought you were just talking about bi.
Yeah, I was actually. Yeah. Biran.
Yeah.
Biran So Far Away theme song. I think that we had a blast because we played this small company, little card game that's had 5 Kickstarters now, but at the time they had 1.
Yeah.
Got people into it that were traditional gamers that don't watch wrestling. That's a success. We got wrestling fans into it who don't play games. That's a success. We had new people in, Spencer and his group.
Yeah.
We had Blood Bowl leagues that went to tournaments in because we absorbed them for a Friday night get-together. Kind of like Dreadball a little bit. Are
you talking about good Spencer or bad Spencer?
Talking about all 3 Spencers.
Yeah.
All 3 of them play Super Show.
Yes.
And, something that is a fun topic that we could explore even in this episode is that using one game, and maybe we'll hit it later, but using one game to, I don't want to say secretly get another one in, but sometimes just organically, but sometimes it is a maybe ulterior motive of, I'm gonna turn my Blood Bowl league into a Dread Bowl league. They're not ready for this, but we're gonna do it. And that happens a lot. So that kind of happened in a way. We took our gaming group, showed them a card game. It's a game where you can learn in 2 minutes and show someone else in 2 minutes. So that was great. It grew, and we created our own belts. We got belts. We created events and tournaments. There were still some issues. Like as I look back now, what would I have done differently to use the same question I gave Xtreme? I actually probably would have encouraged buying characters from the company and playing with them and switching them out and just having tournaments. I probably would have done away, looking back now in retrospect, and we'll talk more about it in the actual episode of this game, but I would have made it more competitive based, not as a bad word, but as a easy access competitive, just took tournaments and prizes and not storylines. I probably would have done away with that now. I don't want to get into why. I want to save that for the Super Show episode. But okay. I think it's important to look back on a game you championed. Take your pluses, or take your W's and take your L's, because there are always losses, and there's always some. You want to hope that the wins are always up here anyway, but there's always something you could have done better or differently for a different outcome. But for me, that would have been that. So I think it's a game that we were the first community that took the game, besides where it was made in New York, that made it and took it to the next level. Now it's grown, but we took it. It was great. So not a lot of regrets, a couple, but that's a game that I championed with Xtreme's help and Mike's help later on. That it was just, it's easy to champion a game when you're enthusiastic about it.
Is the regret only that everyone's a heel now?
The regret will be covered in our Super Show episode. But this leads into the next section of this episode. How do you know, either when you're championing a game, you are the main driving force, the main guy, if you will, or you're part of it. Maybe you're just in it, watching your friend run it. How do you know when it's time to stop or when it's time to pivot into something else?
Well, sometimes, at least for our group, we kind of have a 6 to 8 week cycle. So usually something new will come out and we'll be like, we kind of want to try this. So how about in 2 weeks, we'll try this. So frequently it's just the release cycle, and we kind of know we're going to have 6 to 8 weeks with this game, and then we're going to go on to another game. When
you were involved in if you had any dud games that you tried, like what happened? How did you know to say, like, and I'm just throwing out, let's say you got into Dust because Todd was pushing it at one time. You bought a bunch of stuff because it was half price. Then you realize, I don't like it. Does everyone have a secret meeting? How does that work?
The biggest example of that was probably Drop Zone Commander. I knew by my third or fourth game that these mechanics are not for me.
Great one to bring up. We'll probably have an episode on it, but that is a game that to this day I still want to get into, and I can't for a plethora of reasons. There's many reasons why I can't. It's almost on life support as a game right now. Even when it wasn't, before it was sold to TT Combat, when it was Hawk War Games, and it had new stuff coming out, it was still a very clunky game to get people into.
I never figured out Close Combat.
Close Combat was a pain in the ass. And what I found was kind of like how Kings of War got disgruntled Warhammer fantasy players into it, Drop Zone got disgruntled 40K players into it. Different on many scales, obviously, many levels, but sci-fi battle game. It got, because I remember seeing people play at Adepticon. I know they were old 40K players. I can tell by the win at all costs look in their eyes, their beady little eyes. I can tell. But that's a game that didn't go anywhere. We tried probably twice. I tried the second time. We all tried the first time at Gaming Goat. Didn't go anywhere. I tried at Grognard and ran a tournament. I don't think any of you fuckers showed up, which is fine. Whatever.
I'm going to say, I don't remember you running a tournament. So.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, assholes.
Did that weirdo guy show up?
Who showed?
The weirdo guy that you ran into at Dragstar?
I'm trying to think. The other JP showed up. Eisenberg, so from Blood Bowl. He was great. There was 2 other people who showed up.
I thought there was a weird guy and his wife that talked to you at Dragstar.
Oh, yeah. They didn't know it wasn't them. I know. Yeah, they tried to get something going to Dragstar. They tried really hard to get something going. It wasn't.
Oh, those guys. Yeah, I remember them. Yeah.
I just didn't want to. Dragstar was never a convenient place for me to go, so I never wanted to.
It's not a convenient place for anyone to go when it was open.
No,
it was too far. But there was 2 other people who showed up, and we played, and actually, in a weird way, we played 3 games in that tournament. By the 3rd game, I felt the get good, bro. I actually felt that I don't want to say good, but I got better. I actually learned a lot because one of the guys in there was pretty well seasoned on it. JP had some games under his belt too, but that was fun. But it didn't go anywhere after that. I also realized you guys didn't want to play, so that was like not that I could have tried on my own, but again, what causes hitting a wall in that championship game? I gave up. I magnetized the fuck out of my army. I started paying them. I have a school bus with not armed children, but armed terrorists, something nicer than arming children. What a great game. What a country. The problem is I could not get people to play, and I couldn't get the fucking rules like in my head to show people. It's a clunky ass game, and I could not get to the point where I could champion it alone. So I tried out here once in Colorado, asked around, several times, gave up. Still got my stuff, not getting rid of it because I want to. It's a holy grail of games for me. People talk about that. I want it, but one day, but I hit a wall. I gave up. Has that happened to you guys with other games?
Well, you asked how you know when to do it. I think one of the big things is when you're championing a game and you're not having fun anymore, it's a good idea to start looking for an exit strategy. So if you're not having fun, then you're just going to bring the whole thing down and make sure that no one else is going to have fun. So either find someone else that's going to come in and take it over for you, or start finding an end to whatever game that you're championing.
Mike, that did not happen to Frostgrave at all, right? You never.
No.
You never hit the wall. Biran, with your kill team, never.
I always the things I've run kill team. I ran 40K escalation, and I ran Age of Sigmar escalation. I always had a hard stop. I said we're doing this for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever.
If it went longer, did you feel like, oh man, I want it to be over?
That's why I always had a deadline. I was like, we're gonna play this many games.
Fair. I think with Super
Show, there is the rare case, and this was when Tony ran Relic Blade. It went so fast. We're like, let's do another one. That's the only time I can remember that happening because it was so quick.
Well, and maybe that's a huge advantage to. We covered this in our gaming clubs episode. Pachow. Just kidding. We don't do that.
No.
But we covered that kind of thing. Your gamer ADD sometimes comes in handy. Your wallet doesn't appreciate being violated every week, but from a getting tired of it, it doesn't happen because there's an end, right?
Mm-hmm. Leave them wanting more.
Yeah. So for like, if you run 40K, maybe some people, uber competitive guys got in, and everyone's got flyers and nights, and makes you not having fun. In Super Show, I mean, I ran it till I moved, but we ran lesser as time went on. Frankly, I was getting a little irritated of like, being questioned on a lot of things. Why do they do this? Why? And I was like, well, I'm just having fun, man. I don't know. Like, just trying to have fun with it. Like, and it's not. It happens in some games. I think when, Xtreme brought up the, having separating yourself and all that. The games you champion that you're more GM than player, I think hit that wall quicker. Because, well, maybe not. It can. We can discuss it. Because, one, you have more control. So you think you have control of having a good time. But it also means things aren't working out in the puzzle as you thought. And now it's not like you had hoped. Whereas if you were just a player in a Blood Bowl league, say you were the commissioner too. When Anthony Sarlo ran a Blood Bowl league, he was the commissioner, but he was a very not hyper aggressive. You know what I mean, right? You play you, tell me who won. He didn't go above and beyond, and not a knock on him by any means. He didn't probably want to take that on, but that's a lot easier to keep your sanity if you're not trying to be the all-encompassing GM to make sure everybody's having a fun time, right?
I actually like the GM role better than just participating, because if I get a little burnt out on the game, or it's like I like GMing because I don't feel like I should even be necessarily trying to win as much, because I don't want to be that guy that wins his own event. So, and I also like taking a week off, like, oh, I'm odd man out. Cool. I could walk around the tables, chit chat, have fun that way. I actually like running where I could take breaks from playing.
The games you've championed, and this is not a knock on you either, the games you've championed have all had a finite ceiling, though.
Yeah.
So when I think about Blood Bowl tournaments I created and then gave to Mike, that he could have said no, but he didn't for the greater good. That's at a level where I wanted to just be a player. It grew too big, and I don't want to do it anymore, but I also don't want to let people down. So you try to, you feel bad. You try to find somebody worthy of it. Chaos Cup, Mike, I mean, if Katie didn't step up and with your assistance, it could have ended up in Oklahoma, could have ended up in Michigan, because there were people that wanted to take it and move it there. So, I mean, you have these moments of when your baby gets too big and you don't want it anymore, you don't want to do it anymore because it's not fun anymore to either run it and or play in it. What do? You
send them to college.
That's what you try to do. Unfortunately, that college is way too close to home. He'll be back every weekend with laundry. But that happens in those games. You basically, Biran, I don't think, you may have run a dread ball tournament or two, maybe, or did I do those?
Yeah, you did those.
Maybe?
You and I did those, yeah.
Yeah, so Biran,
I just won them.
That you did. I mean, you want to stand up now and see what fell off into your chair? You finally got it out, right?
The base snapped off, so it's in there forever.
Oh man, that's rough. I think if you set a finite cap to not just an end to the campaign or I mean like a cap to the expectation. Like, I'm gonna run a kill team tournament. Biran's running a kill team tournament with those same rules. A couple of people might show up, they might not because it's some weird rules, but this is it. It's only ever going to be these 10 slots. It's never going to grow any further, and we're going to do 4 of them, and we're going to call it at the end of the year. There's an end there. I'll throw this one to Mike and also Xtreme. When we ran Blood Bowl tournaments and people weren't happy with us not running anymore, like, isn't it also fair to say, when did I sign a lifetime contract? Just when I said I'm going to run Chaos Cup, I'm going to run Chaos Cup 2011. Let's hope we do 2012. I mean, like, there's a thing that happens with gamers that when you champion a game or a tournament or a league, they assume you are like, Supreme Court justice for life. Like you have this job for life. Why does that happen? I mean, have you ever thought about like why people assume, well, he's stepping down, man? I just ran this one though. I'm stepping down because it already happened. It's over. Yeah, but next year. Where the fuck did I say next year? When did I fucking say next year? Did I hand out flyers at next year? But the assumption is always there. Why is that?
Well, I think there's like the group of people that don't ever step up to champion a game that I was always trying to like push them. Just do something little. It doesn't have to be huge. It doesn't have to be a campaign. Just whatever, like a small demo game or whatever to get things going. But you said earlier, people complaining about, well, I wish the campaign rules were this way instead of the way they are in the book. The people that complain about that most often aren't the people that would champion a game. Those are the people that are waiting for someone else to champion a game and be like, well, I don't like the way that you're doing it.
Yeah.
Give me free content.
Yeah.
And that creates negative feelings for the person championing the game and makes them less likely to champion another game down the line.
I mean,
like
JP, I'll give you an example of this is how it would be argued on Twitter. When someone says, oh, dude, next year, right? You go, you are not entitled to my labor.
Free labor, that slave labor. Yeah, it's just weird because, if someone and I'm just throwing out, some are real, some are not real, but like, a Blood Bowl tournament said it's too cramped in this location, but they also don't know how much it costs to get a new thing. You don't know what goes into things. Why don't you have better giveaways? Why does this cost so much to participate? In the Super Show side, why do your friends get these shots of this? Why did he get this card that's pyro and I didn't? And I don't know. He showed up before you did. That happens all the time. And it's such a kick in the balls, frankly. And if you want to, nowadays on Twitter, Biran, you would be called a snowflake for these same complaints. But the fact of the matter is, I'm championing a game out of the kindness of my heart because I want to have fun and I want people to have fun and I want people to play with. I'm not saying everyone has to kiss my ass, but
a little bit.
You don't have to kiss it. Just like, dude, like slow your roll with complaints because you want me to just end it now? Because I will. It's over. It's so easy to walk away. I've learned that one over time. It could be over instantly.
It's definitely something to think about if you're participating in a game that someone else is championing. Like, make sure that you're not creating more work or more headache for them. Like, just be a good player.
And offer to help. Hey, is there something I could do?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, offer to help. What can I do to help? Can I help you check rosters? You're running the tournament, but I got some time. I'm not going to do anything. So, that kind of stuff. And frankly, I'd like to think some people have some empathy. I mean, I think about those Chaos Cups. Like, I'm trying to put in results that are coming to me that are sheets that don't match up, fucking chicken scratches I can't read, put it into a system. As I mentioned in our Dreadball episode, I'm already not good in big environments learning a new game. Also not great trying to like do math and whatnot. And someone's standing over my head with a bowl of fucking noodles. I'm trying to key in fucking results. Who do I got? What time exactly does the next one start?
Am I top table?
I want to go to Applebee's. What the fuck time does the next one start? Like, dude, I'm not even on you yet. How the fuck do I know? But it's like, I want to say fuck you to everybody because be a little empathetic to the fact that we've taken on a job that there's what does it pay? If you're on, the answer is never. It's always going to be never. So it's like, calm the fuck down. Like, do you want people to run shit or don't you? And I think that when you champion a game, whether it's a league, a campaign, a series of tournaments, one tournament, whatever, you always start off strong. You always start off the best intentions, like in our 40K episode with, my fluff list, the best intentions, and then I get crumped and I go, 3 Bane Blades, please. And it's just, that happens when you run a game too. You start off strong, but then things happen. People don't show up. People complain. Problems happen. Maybe somebody's like, I don't say cheating, but doing things not in the spirit of how you intended, whatever. All that shit happens, and it all makes you kind of soured on it. It takes a very specific personality to put up with all. Mike, I think, is probably the most of all of us, has that more than anyone, to put up with it.
By far.
Yeah, put up with it.
As you were saying that, I was thinking Mike is great at that.
I mean, Mike, what did you give Blood Bowl? A 3.5 or 3?
3.5.
3.5, yeah.
Yeah. For a 3.5, it's a good score. It ain't great to still do what you do. And what'd you give Dreadball?
That was Dreadball.
No, I said Blood Bowl first.
Oh, Dread Bowl, I gave it 3.5.
Yeah,
No,
3.5. Yeah.
And what did you give Blood Bowl, Mike?
I think 3.5. Yeah.
Okay. I'm just checking because these are not 5 Zlurpy games we're talking about here. These are, it's not even a 4, not even a 4.5. So knowing you gave these 2 games 3.5s, still being a champion, still running tournaments when asked, it takes a specific personality to do that. And I think a lot of people don't respect that level of commitment or basically just that ability to put up with bullshit. Mike, how long have you looked at shit rosters in Blood Bowl? Like,
oh God, yeah.
20 years of looking at why do you have 6 Troll Slayers, motherfucker? Like, that's not what you do. The video game downloaded a patch. Get the fuck out of here.
Mike, have you ever run a tournament and just turned to someone and told them to shut the fuck up? I don't think you have.
But
I will say Mike will have Katie be bad cop if needed.
Yeah.
Mike won't say shut the fuck up. Katie will though.
Oh yeah.
But that's people just don't give a fuck. I hate to say it, but we talked a lot about it in our gaming. If you haven't watched our gaming club episode, watch that one too. But personalities are a huge part of tabletop gaming. And while I'll take a war gamer over a board gamer or a card gamer or video gamer any day as far as who I want to talk to and hang out with, they still ain't perfect. And
It's like family. War gamers are family. You'll put up with a little more.
Yeah, you will. But will you? Okay, so to that note, Biran, if you're normally the person in your family that has Christmas Eve at their house every year, and eventually you just get tired of it, I don't think we're going to run it next year. We're planning on redoing the basement. There's going to be like stuff. Like you're going to find a way out of it, family or not, wargamer or not. If they are making you have a shitty experience championing that game or having a family party, you're going to find a way to get out of it, right?
Yeah. Passive aggressively. Like once I went to Branson, Missouri for Thanksgiving to get out of hosting.
Smart. Yeah. I like to look up like big like work events wherever I'm employed, at radio or not, and try to do stuff on that weekend. Like, hey, I know it's February, but when's your Christmas party? Cool. I'm going to GameWorks that day. I'm sorry. Xtreme, I want to throw this one over to you. And we've already covered Blood Bowl, so it's got to be talked about in this one. You ended Zlurpy Bowl. That was the thing you championed. Why did it end?
Just I think for the reasons I covered in Blood Bowl, like because I didn't want to play anymore. I just needed to step away from the game completely and take some time out.
Would you think you'd be more likely to champion another tournament or Zlurpy Bowl, Resurrect It, or League, or just find one and play in it?
Probably just find one and play in it.
Knowing that while you're playing in it, you're going to be thinking this guy's doing it wrong.
No, I'm very good at keeping those thoughts to myself.
You keep it to yourself all day, but you got to explode at some point. You can keep, yeah.
I'm
not saying don't tell the guy he's doing it wrong. I'm saying you playing, knowing, oh, what are they doing? Like, that won't happen, you don't think? Or you think it could happen?
I think it's likely to happen.
Yeah.
But I'm also willing to understand that unless I'm going to step up and run it, I need to keep my mouth shut and just play by the rules the way they're doing it.
Yeah.
I like getting passive aggressively petulant when I'm done with a game. The play pure with Super Show and not taking any inducements in Dread Ball in the last 2 tournaments. I get done with it.
There are things like, I mean, how about this? Normie comes into Grognard, sees you playing, about to play 40K, someone didn't show up, want to play? I only do power level.
Yep.
Okay.
He's like, I'm good with that. I mean, I only do points.
Right. I'm just saying.
I have AIDS.
It's not the bad AIDS though. It's the good AIDS. It's fine.
You could just say I don't play against Space Marines, and that'll chase most people away, right? Because 90% of them
I bought my
are Space
nigs.
Marines.
Yeah, cool. I got Krons.
Krons are my bane because I'm so bad at the game that I don't understand how you beat them. So not even a powerful army. I'm just like, I don't get it. They keep coming back.
So Krons, Nids, or Bugs, What are
Sally.
Tau?
I play Sally's.
What's the Tau? They have like a
You
generic.
can't shorten Tau, can you?
I mean, you could have a racial slur in there, I guess.
Space fish.
So the reason why I asked you that question, Xtreme, it wasn't to put you on the spot. It was to say, what happens when you champion a game? Again, I'm talking tournament, league, campaign, one-off, a year-long, whatever, just a game, you took it and ran with it. When it's over, and maybe it's over before, prematurely, you just want, it's done, you're soured on it, you don't even want to play, so you're soured on it, does that make you not want to play is what I was going for. So you ran stuff, didn't end how you'd like it, didn't feel the best about it, got tired of it, walked away, handed Blood Bowl tournaments to Mike, whatever. Did I still want to play? Did the souring of the championing affect me having fun with the game later on? Does that happen?
It happens not with me with Blood Bowl. I think it was almost the reverse of that. Like I was done playing before I was done championing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, it definitely happens the way that you're describing it a lot. And most of that I contribute to people's comments and the way they're playing and stuff, making it work. And then when it's work, it's no longer fun. And then you associate that running of the game with playing the game too, and you're just done.
Yeah, it's very true. It's like when people talk about a band and why their first album is so good. Their first album is good because there was no expectation. They had essentially their whole lifetime to create it. There was no we need a single by this time. It was all these things to create this one thing. Now, after that first one comes out, that first album comes out, your first tournament, your first league, then it's like, where do we go from here? And this is where I had it with Blood Bowl a lot. Well, why aren't you still running it? Do I work for you? I mean, I don't think I get a paycheck. It has to be so much goddamn fun to run this thing that I want to do it again without being asked. I'm already playing the second one before the first one's over. It has to be that level, in my opinion. If it's not, it's going to feel like work. If you're in that band that has the great first album and they say the sophomore slump, yeah, because now it's work. Because now it's a business that you have achieved that level. It's no longer as fun anymore. And games have that all the time. Mike has kind of rose above it for the most part. I will say, Mike, while that may be true, do you have as much fun running Blood Bowl tournaments now as you did 8 years ago? I'm going to answer for you. The answer is no, you don't. And I'll tell you why. Because 8 years
I'm
ago.
not there.
What? Xtreme?
Because I'm not there.
Yeah, fuck yeah. That's one of them.
Joke's on all you. He never liked running them.
8 years ago, Mike, hold on. Pachow. Mike riding a Sibian, which is actually like the arm of a couch. And he's like humping a couch. That shit happened 8 fucking years ago. That didn't happen this year. That didn't happen last year. You don't get over-sexualized Mike without having a shit ton of fun.
I wasn't running that tournament, though.
Yeah, but you were involved in the tournament running scene, right? By that time, I already gave up on Super Bowl. So you were already a well-seasoned veteran TO, and you still humped a couch. You also ate like a banana or sausage, and you French.
Yeah, that was that. Yeah, Zlurpy. Yeah.
Bracket or somebody was fucking gross. You did those things, Mike, and yeah, you had a couple of pops in you. I totally get that, but also you were involved in a tournament organizing scene that was a blast to be a part of. You're not in that anymore. We're not in that anymore. And I don't necessarily know if it's the same or not, but we're not either. My point is, even when you're still championing a game, you still might be on the, was it the bell curve? You still might be on the down.
I will say the last couple of Adepticons did not have a lot of the regulars.
The energy seemed down, I would say.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I enjoyed meeting the new people and all of that, but it kind of wasn't the same without the people that I don't want to say grew up with in Blood Bowl, because they've kind of.
I'll tell you why. Because in the old days, Mike, we would have had a Blood Bowl tournament. probably in Lombard at the Westin. Then we went to Brick House afterward. Everyone's ordering, as they called the bongs, the giant.
Oh yeah,
Like, and it was a fucking blast. And we learned about Peyronie's disease when your dick is fucked up from an actual doctor who plays Blood Bowl. We went to fucking Lord Ashley's pub in Indianapolis, and we all talked like Fezzik from, or not Fezzik, Kuzik. Fezzik's under a giant. Kuzik from Role Models. Those are the things we did back then. So my point is, even when you're still, I don't want to say going through the motions, because that would be an insult to the work you do, Mike, but you're still at a different point than when you were at your highest, right?
Yeah.
Sounds like you're putting words into his mouth, JP. I think.
No, I don't want to put him down.
Well,
I want to make sure.
It's a little different now.
Is it as fun now than it was 8 years ago? If the answer is yes, I'll lay off. We'll go to our next topic. And you won't hurt our feelings either. We have
no.
We're men. We have no feelings.
It can seem like a little bit more. It's more routine now, because I know, because I run the tournaments that I'm running are ones at usually at conventions. So it's just, I know exactly what I need to do. I print out the rosters 2 weeks in advance, and I do blah 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 blah, and then so.
Okay, fair enough. I think that
it's not. I'm not saying I'm not putting it down. I'm not saying I don't want to do it, but it's nothing I plan for anymore. It's just something that it's like, okay, I'm going to be doing this next year, so yeah, I'm going to be doing it next year.
The Chaos Cup is no longer handled in your household, right?
Yeah. Well, my job hasn't changed.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, I'm still doing the charity auction. I'm still doing.
Oh, Mike, you got to get a paycheck for that shit.
Well, that's the whole joke. Was Katie, when she was like, "Yeah, I don't want to run Chaos Cup anymore," she assumed I was gonna not do it either, and that didn't change. So
yeah, you're like this.
Well, it might change this year, but
you're just embedded. You're like an operative that's embedded into like some state's government. It's like we get a new governor every 4 or 8, but this guy is always our fucking man.
I'll be honest with you. For Chaos Cup, the highlight is still the charity auction. I like seeing what I can get from other people, the donations and all of that. I really enjoy that. This year has been exceptionally hard because everyone's having financial, gaming companies especially. But
did anyone offer to give COVID for an auction item or no?
Yeah, I'm wondering how the Nurgle team.
Don't open this one till November.
Yeah. But so this year there's probably not going to be a charity auction, but if there is a Chaos Cup, but
like I said, I'm not. And Biran, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. I just want to see with even somebody who is not as tainted as we can be. Ironically, the most chaos player of all games is the least taintable. That's the word.
I mean, it's not new and fresh anymore. It's more routine. And in some ways that's nice because I'm not panicking. I'm not stressing because I kind of know what to do. But you get this point where you stress at the very beginning because you don't know what to expect. You've
done all the positions. Okay. You've done anal, you've done oral, you've done everything.
Yeah.
Now let's go through the motions. Right?
Now it's just I want to go to sleep. I'll get you. The weekend's coming. I'll get it.
I could do this faster by myself.
No, but see, what happens is you when you start running something, you're nervous because you want to plan for everything. You don't know what to expect, and weird things happen, and then you become, good at it, and then you get. And now I'm kind of on that downward slope where it's like, yeah, I know what's going to happen. I know this, and you get a little lazy sometimes too. And you forget things like, oh shit, I should have done this,
Well, you forget, but also you reprioritize too. I always think about the tournaments that I've run, mainly Blood Bowl. It's always my second one is always my best, and then third starts to decline because first year you make mistakes. Second, you fix your mistakes, so you think I did it, like I've achieved pinnacle success, and then it always for me is downhill after that. My second Chaos Cup, the Nurgle one, was the most fun and the best one in my opinion. It was just, I did everything that year, like scavenger hunts and shit. We did everything. And then it just kind of went downhill from there. And that happens a lot with events, you want to be the best you can, but at a certain point, I think I guess the point of all of this is that you do hit a wall at some point.
Oh,
You
yeah.
You can't run things forever. And if you do run things forever, you don't run them at the same level as you did forever.
Yeah, I can see that.
So Xtreme, any games you are looking to champion anytime soon? That's our next transition here.
There's always games that, because I find myself attracted to like smaller, less popular games, I always think, hey, I could take one of these games and I can champion it and maybe get some other people involved and then have people to play against.
Dracula's America maybe next?
Dracula's America, Riot Quest, and Rumble Slam.
You had Blitzball for a while? You had a college set brackets made up for that, right?
For what?
Blitzball? You were going to do like a season?
Well, that was going to be by myself. So.
Oh, okay.
Championing my solo Blitzball.
As Biran said, I can do it faster myself.
Yeah.
I bet Xtreme's league by himself is going to be more fun than any league with people. There is going to be that moment in the final when you have to beat yourself up. That's going to happen. And someone will walk away disappointed, and someone will walk away happy.
It'll be like a Bulls scrimmage game in practice. There'll be one jerk that makes everyone else sad.
Sad or better?
Both.
Okay.
Like when you're in practice in high school football and you go to the guy across, like, let's go easy today. I ate a big lunch.
Yeah.
And then he goes 100%. You're like, motherfucker.
Yeah, like, what are you doing? He's like,
we're already both starters. We're not winning a position.
I thought easy was code for go all out. Yeah. Why would you ever think that? How many Blood Bowl games have I had where my last game is an agreement game? It's just, we're going to go off in the corner. I'm going to get some food. We're going to start late. We're going to end before everyone. You know what I mean? 4 turns and we're done.
It's going to be a 1-1 tie. And
the score column says 1-1-1-1. 1 touchdown, 1 casualty. Same to you. Sign off. Top sportsman. That's the only 5 out there. Sportsman. Here you go.
Or, hey, we're pretty close on casualties. You want to win most casualties? Let's just rack them up.
Or, yeah, you're up for touchdowns. I'm up for casualties. Shall we strike a deal?
75 touchdowns? What?
9-0. Casualties, 2. Okay. All right. So, Biran, Valdric, any games that are on, or Xtreme, sorry, were you going to keep going? Or were you or Dracula's America?
We had Dracula's America,
Rumble Slam?
Those are the 3. Yep.
Is Super Show's done?
I tried.
Yeah.
I would consider that one of my failures.
There's that one racist guy.
Yeah.
You got a guy down there named Italian Beef. How can it be a failure with that guy around? He's great.
That's a good name.
And when I say a failure, we still had fun. It just wasn't growing. So if it's only like 3-4 people, there's only so long that you can play the game.
If you play that game straight, how much can you really get into it?
I will tell you that you know what? Let's save that. I don't want to.
Yeah, we'll save it.
Because I'm having more fun now, frankly, playing it than I did before. Which I'll tell you why. Secrets will be revealed in that episode. Biran, Valdric, what games are you looking to champion in the future?
I want to do the.
Oh, is it creative writing you're going to work on?
No, this is the 40K.
No, I know.
Crusade.
I know, but it's not.
I want to do a slow grow crusade thing.
Okay. Hope it works out.
Various narrative elements.
Who's in it? Is Todd in it?
Todd, no.
Okay.
God, no.
No one wants to play
Todd.
No one wants to play Todd.
I'm just saying because
we love you, Todd, but yeah, you know why.
Well, your narrative play is going to be power level, and he's going to put orcs in.
It's salty because orcs power level sucks.
And that's his way of playing. I've had to unfuck myself with 40K several times, which we talked about in the 40K episode.
And Todd only plays now BattleTech, Magic, and that's it.
Okay. So you want to
war when he can.
Yeah.
Did you say Kings of War?
Yeah, he did play that recently. So yeah,
Kings of War. New game.
Kings of War, yeah.
But I'm sure Mike's got his super mega painted army all ready to go.
Well, I'm not going to play that though.
Oh, Oh yeah, because we'll do slow.
Yeah, because I'll do something else. Yeah.
Yeah. I might actually do Necrons just because why not?
Nice. Do you need some more?
No.
Everyone's trying to unload them, so.
I know. I think they look great.
I think like I said, I traded my Marines away, so.
Necrons look awesome. I just think that a lot of people have already decided either I'm playing them or not. That's
Right.
Yes. Oh yeah.
I don't like them. It's a
Well, and I found my Trazon the Infinite model that I thought I lost. I finally found it, and he's my favorite character in the entire.
Yes.
Was that a Forge World? Or was that a real plastic one?
No, it was a Citadel Finecast.
Oh, Finecast, yeah. So.
But I looked at it; it's got no bowls or bits, so I'm looking forward.
No lights.
Yeah, I want to try doing the campaign, the Crusade rules.
So that's great, and I'm not going to obviously dwell on that, but there's 50 plus pages of narrative rules in the new 40K rulebook. So if you have a willing group that wants to get into it and have fun with it, and know that hey, war isn't always even, everyone. Prepare to have fun.
Yeah, you're going to lose some. There's going to be some game scenarios where you're not supposed to win.
Well, and think about it. There's a reason why they said in the rules, if you're playing, this is a very thing. I didn't say it on the episode because I didn't have the rule book in my hand, but they say points this much per side. They say power level this much combined.
Yep. So you could have less and more. Yep.
You pick the game level based on combined power level. They're already giving you the go ahead to say. Attacker may have less because you're fucking attacking. But guess what? You get this whole thing to go around and that's how it should be. So good luck on that. Anything else or just 40K narrative?
Right now, just 40K. And also just side games. I'm looking forward to playing more Riot Quest. Don't really need to, I don't think, as far as championing, no.
Did anyone champion that game?
No, I think I've only played it with Mike. Just Mike. I think I've only played you, Mike.
Yeah.
So good point.
And Tony and Ryan and
Tony and Ryan. Yeah.
Did the number of games suffer because no one championed it?
No, because of COVID.
COVID. Yeah.
We literally played the last time we were all together at Grognard's before COVID. We were playing Riot Quest.
Yes.
Convenient excuse, you guys.
Yeah.
I'm still looking forward to playing it. It's a lot of fun.
Sure it is. Riot Quest, so might pick up down the road then. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And some more Legion probably.
Star Wars Legion. Were you the champion of that?
I would say Ryan was, but we also incorporated some non-friendly ass Grognards into our game.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Yeah.
That worked out.
Expanded the borders. But we'll put it this way: they're fun to play with, but I wouldn't invite them to the Facebook group because I don't know if they're down with some of the stuff that goes on in there.
Yeah, your posts in the group are, as the kids would say, like you're like an incel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Color, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah. Fair enough. Mike, any games you're playing on besides do you already have something you committed to as far as Blood Bowl and Dread Bowl anytime soon?
No.
Okay.
But we just got the rule sets for 2 smaller skirmish games. One's called Star Blast, which is kind of a generic science.
Star Breach.
Star Breach. Star Blast.
Star Breach, not Star Blast.
Finger blasting in space.
Yeah. The other one's called Counter Blast, which is a Ryan and Tony got me into that. It's the rule book just came today, so it's a kind of a pulp science fiction game. It seems fun.
Nice.
I like the dice that come with
We'll
Star
see.
Breach.
Yeah, Star Breach, yeah.
Nice.
Now, Star Breach is basically, you can use your own miniatures, but all the factions seem to parallel with the 40K ones. So.
And Star Wars and every sci-fi genre you can think of.
The Space Monks. Yeah, so yeah.
George Lucas going to sue somebody, or I should say Disney now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's by the guy that makes Gangs in the Street, right?
yeah. Well, it's by the company.
Yeah. Which is just that guy, isn't it?
I don't know. I mean, Gangs of the Street is half a page of rules, so
So that one's pretty good. Anything else you're looking at, Mike?
I mean, it's right now it's hard to tell, but yeah, those 2. Just because I don't know what's gonna, I don't want to get too excited about anything. I'm not going to play for 6 months, so.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do have one more thing I want to bring up after I give mine, and then we'll wrap it up. Something that I meant to bring up earlier, but for me, I mean, I'm thankful that my wife plays 40K now and did it before, so we'll probably do some narrative play as well. If it's just us, that's fine. There's 5 armies between us, and we're having fun. So.
What is she playing?
Heather's got Tyranids and Sisters of Battle. She took over my Sisters of Battle. I bought the box. I bought the box set, and I was gonna put it together. I told her that's my rainy day project. I'd left it untouched. It wanted to come out like November, and it's like, well, I kind of want to try them. I'm like, well, but I was gonna do them, and
that's my thing.
Yeah, and then but she liked playing. So Tyranids she started about 2 years ago, and loves playing them because especially the High Fleet Kraken. It lets you roll 3 dice for advance. So you're in their face immediately, and the Gene Stealers can advance and charge at the same time. So it's just a ultra aggro, as the kids say, army. And
Zerg rush.
She liked the sisters as far as like fluff and all that. So and then I've got Orcs, Eldar, Space Marines. So for me, it's like that's a fun game we're playing. We're still playing Rumble Slam and other games and Underworlds as well. I'm thankful that with you talking about COVID getting in the way. It wrecked a lot of game clubs and a lot of friends playing games. But sometimes people you live with also will play games too. So there is that we've played more now because of that than before. That's about it. I mean, maybe others I'll dabble, but probably 40K just because of the new releases will be the focus. I want to bring up something we talked about at the beginning before we close it. What happens when you do a Kickstarter and you find yourself the victim of a forced championing? Has that ever happened to you guys?
Not me, because I'll only do it if someone else is doing it already. And nowadays, I try not to do any of them.
Some others in the group did it, though. Like, I think probably Ryan or Jameson.
Oh, Ryan and Jameson. Ryan goes in a lot more Kickstarters than I do.
He'll go in and get it, and then he's going to push for it.
Yeah.
And then it's basically up to, it's up to him to convince you to try it. And then at that point, it's up to you to convince yourself it's good or not, right?
Yeah. He's kind of done that with Drowned Earth a little bit, right, Mike? You guys have picked up some.
Yeah, I got Drowned Earth, yeah.
Is that so? He got a lot of stuff for that first?
Yeah.
He and Jameson both did.
And Jameson, yeah.
Do you think that happened with Dreadball with us? We just had a glorious Dreadball episode that, the reviews are in. We're thousands of views already. It's fantastic. Everyone loves our Dreadball episode, especially the parts where Biran destroyed the company, Mantic, and ripped on them the whole time. But with that said, we all talked about the Kickstarters, and playing. Were we victims to a Kickstarter? We got to have a name for that. Not like a Kickstarter, maybe a non-consenting Kickstarter of sorts. We bought the stuff, and now you're gonna play. Like whether you like it or not, someone needs to justify that play.
I guess.
Oh, what?
Kick regretter.
Kick regretter. A Kickstarter, if you will. What we'll go with that. What do you think Dreadball is a Kickstarter?
No, because it's at its core, it's a good game and was for a time actually available for purchase.
Yeah. But you wouldn't have tried it unless Mike backed it.
No, I didn't even know Mike when he backed it. I picked it up independently at Adepticon when we were still in Lombard.
You bought Dreadball before knowing us.
Yes.
Well, okay then.
I met you guys when I played my first Dreadball game, and I was afraid of strangers, so in the first game, I just played Todd.
So I ran into Todd at that Adepticon. We haven't seen each other in a while. We had a bromance embrace, and he said, "Let me tell you about my friend with the big head." And I was like, "Who is this?" I thought I was your friend with the big head. And then he said, "I have another. There is another." And
it's even bigger.
He said, "You're weird. You don't like people, and you don't like to bring them around until you kind of vet them." And then we just realized, guess who was the burger and who was the fries in that one?
You're like, oh.
Now, to be fair, Todd is a great set of fries. When Five Guys dumps it all in, that's Todd. He's a gigantic bag of fries. Still fries. Biran is the burger I didn't know I wanted. It's like, I don't know if I like, fucking, this on the burger. Like when Kuma's has a weird burger, like I don't think I'm going to like it.
What is this, pimento cheese relish?
Right.
What?
Yeah, I had no idea. So that's Biran is I hate
So the first time I played against Todd and Nameless, and I'm like, this game sucks. How come his guys are so much better than mine?
Did he teach you wrong, or is because Nameless?
Because Nameless, I had no idea what I was doing.
Oh yeah, shit, yeah.
And that first time I met you, I accidentally called you Anthony, and you gave me the dirtiest look I've ever seen.
Who, me? What? I mean, because
I got you and Sarlo mixed up because I didn't know either of you. Because my introduction to Sarlo was him telling me how problematic this sexy Harley Quinn was on this box.
He did say that.
And I said, what do you mean? And he said, well, it tells girls that for us to care about them, they have to be hot and sexy. And I go, well, that's true.
I would say, to be fair, have you seen what superhero men look like?
Yeah.
To be fair. Yeah, good points. And only one of us was in Masters of Luxor, the Doctor Who fan film.
That's right.
And that was not me.
And the porn parody of Game of Thrones.
Yes, yeah.
He played, what's his name? He was the friend zoned by Daenerys.
Yes.
Mormont.
Oh, Mormont. Yeah, yeah. Zarlo looks like the porn version of Jorah, Sir Jorah. Put that one up on Pornhub. And I merely played a Targus. No, TARDIS. What's the butt plug in Doctor Who? Sorry, I switched.
The Dalek.
Dalek. Yeah, I merely played that in the episode. I wasn't the star of it. Any other games you can remember thinking of where we were kick-sharded into in existence? Because I put Dreadball in that one. Because while you may have bought it, Biran, I wouldn't have tried it if Mike and other Brian didn't buy it. So that was a kick-sharded. It was thrust upon me to try. I could have said no.
Dead Zone fall into that too?
Which one?
Dead Zone?
So Dead Zone was after, and we'll have its own episode, but after Dreadball was for me a success, I said, cool, let me check out their version of Necromunda that happens to be on Kickstarter now. And I went all in. So yeah, probably. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why it's a yeah. Because we don't play it now. And we don't want to play it now. That's why. And that's why I put Dreadball in that too. That's how I'm going to determine a kick-sharter. Because if I went all in and either I or someone in my group got us interested, created some excitement, we played, and then we're done, and we're done forever.
That's a Kickstarter.
That's a Kickstarter.
But you want to differentiate it from, say, Warpath, which never even blossomed in anything.
And I back it, so I don't even count it.
So that's a kick abortion.
And then there's also like separate from shards. I don't know what they would be. Just
kick down the stairs.
Sure. When you go all in on something and you don't even bother to introduce it to other people, you just know it was a failure.
Oh, that might still be a Kickstarter, but that's one that you closed your butt cheeks and you just said, we're gonna power through this one. I got 3 more hours of work.
Gurgle, 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 gurgle. As
opposed to, honey, can you bring me clothes? It's now, I'm gonna power through. It's only 2 o'clock. That's a shameful Kickstarter.
The worst was I never got my second half of Warpath Kickstarter, and to this day I still don't care.
You backed it?
Warpath, yes.
Wow.
I never got my Forge Fathers tanks, and I don't care.
Wow. Interesting.
I paid $200 and it's gone, and I prefer that it never show up.
You know what? I just had a revelation. I actually might have backed it and didn't know I did. So I sold all my Warpath stuff to Rob before I moved, so I guess I did back it. I said I didn't back it. Not only did I back it, but I turned it around so quick. I tricked myself into thinking I didn't back it.
You almost drop shipped it to someone else.
Dare I say, my big shark sucked back in, much like Mike's butt sucking a fart out of my butt once upon a time in Indianapolis. This was me,
You just took a shit in someone else's diaper is what you did.
Yeah. It's almost like I sat in a chair with a hole in it, and my pants and underwear had a hole in it, and I did shart, but guess what? No lasting effects.
Is it like when you take a dump and you go to wipe and it's clean and it's called a clean break?
No, that's called a ghost on that one.
Ghost poop, yeah.
Yeah. Clean break's a good one too. So I wanted to talk about.
I call it a swoosh, nothing but net.
Swish, yeah. It's because you're on a basketball kick right now. I wanted to talk about that as well. So championing the game, there's no pros and cons because that's already been uncovered. The pro is you get to make a game that you love even better and find people to play with. The con is don't let it eat away at you where it's not fun anymore. It's not even a con. It's more of just it's a warning label. It's not a con. These are goals and warnings, not pros and cons. So if you want to let us know in the comments any games you championed or want to, maybe people could talk about things out there. I know a lot of our regular watchers have championed games, like Spencer Stevens, one of the good Spencers. I never want to say the good Spencer. I don't want anyone to feel like they've achieved that level.
But
I want
them to call him the other Spencer.
Well, that's what his Twitter name is. But I want him to be known as one of the good ones, so he knows there's more work to be done.
Like someone
Not the good.
It's like I'm not going to give him a 5 on a review. He's going to get a 4. Top performers a 4. I give him no 5s. You know.
He's the best Spencer I know.
Fair enough. But even much like your Zlurpee scores, your best is a 3. Your favorite games are like an average of 2.9. You know what I mean? Like,
no.
Your highest rated game is a game you've never played.
That's true.
Burn. So let us know in the comments. I know I was trying to say Spencer championed Guild Ball for a while and showed me how to. So I mean, there's games that a lot of our listeners and friends, many of them are one and the same, have championed. So feel free to talk about it in the comments. Like, subscribe, tell your friends if you have not already. Zlurpcast is back. He's got his Zlurpcast t-shirt. I got a wrestling shirt. Mike's got an Adepticon shirt. Xtreme has a G.I. Joe shirt.
It's a Rob Zombie.
White Zombie. Rob Zombie, yep. Iggy Pop guest vocals on that song doing the spoken word. So get your Zlurpcast merch at zlurpcast.net. I've got up here an art piece. Now, it's just cardboard. I didn't spend a lot on it, but I believe you can get like one of those, what do they call them, like a canvas when it's on the thick one? Is that a canvas print? Whatever. You get that. I've also got, where are they? Where are the coasters? I don't have the coasters. We got fucking
stickers.
Stickers, very nice.
Friend of the show, Ryan, got his shirt delivered this week.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, he posted that. Very nice. Where are the goddamn coasters? Okay, I don't have the coasters. But Zlurpcast is where you get that. Where you get that. Wait, that?
Yep.
Right? Biran's about me because it was the loop-de-loop. And that also supports the show. I do think I owe Biran a couple of bucks. I haven't checked lately, but I think there might be, dare I say, a Hamilton in it for you.
Whoa.
Oh, shit.
Is that the $2 bill?
That's 10.
Oh.
We have bought a lot of our own stuff.
Yes, we have.
All of us. On social
money
media.
launderers on the planet.
On social media, at Zlurpcast everywhere. We've got a Facebook group as well. Look for Zlurpcast discussion. And if you have not seen, if you like this episode, definitely check out Gaming Clubs. I would check out the cons episode because that kind of fits into running things as well. I don't know if we're going to have another one in this series. We might. Tournaments? Is that the same? Is that its own episode, you think? Running a tournament? Or is just this is
it? Kind of bleeds into this one a little bit.
It could. But scoring and competitiveness might. I don't know. So I'd like to think that we have our over half our episodes are game reviews. And spoiler, skip to the end to get right to the number. I don't give a shit. Fucking skip to the end. Do this, and then when you see bloop, stop, discuss with your class, and you watch basically the reviews. You don't have to deal with me talking the whole time. Who wants that?
Or you Tarantino the whole thing. You watch the